Hello, welcome into Bobby Hopkins Park. Alex Myers along with you and John Ulrich as this ball is going to be hit down the third baseline, and there's out number one. Base running blunder there from the Wildcats. As we apologize, we missed the first batter. We only missed one pitch. It was a leadoff triple for Warren East to get things started. The next pitch, the first pitch at the second at bat, was swung on and hit down the third base line. Warren East figured that the third baseman would go to first. Instead, wisely, he went home and the tag was made. So Oak Ridge squanders an early opportunity, but a man on first with one out as Mikey Teasley comes to the plate. Teasley sees the first pitch go a little bit outside.
It is a courtesy runner for the Wildcats, number 17, Andy Hudson.
Andy Hudson in for Parker Free after Parker reached first on that fielder's choice. Hudson's the runner, taking a lead at first. Teasley's going to rope one down the left field line. Does it stay fair? No. Close, but man behind the plate accurately judges that one. I think it was within just a few inches of being fair, and that would have been probably a double for Mikey and might have gotten Andy to third base. So let's recap things again. We missed the first pitch, but it was an exciting one. It was a shot to center field. Warren East held in check last night, but starts this game off with a triple. But unfortunately, when Parker Free gets up to bat, he hits one to third. Warren goes home thinking the third baseman would field it and go to first, but a wise play by the third baseman. He threw home and got East out, so that's why there's a man on first with one out as Mikey Teasley is at the plate with a 1-1 count. Again, one out, and Oak Ridge, while they're the home team wearing the home jersey today, they are the road team as far as this 4:30 game is concerned. So they hit first. So this is the top of the first inning. Already some action on the base from the Wildcats. Teasley sees one, a little bit inside. Good eye there, and it's 2 balls, 1 strike. I'd like to welcome you into this broadcast. Again, Alex Myers, John Ulrich with you. Mark Case doing our scoreboard and stats on the live feed. David Clary is our executive producer. 2-1 pitch, a little bit low and outside. It's 3-1. This game made possible by the kind and generous contribution of Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics. We've got to pay $300 to stream today's game, each game. Hopefully it's just one game. But without Jeff and Versalytics and their contribution, we would not be able to be live right now. There's ball 4. So there's runners on first and second for the Wildcats. John Ulrich, last night the Wildcats had early action on the base, but it felt like they just couldn't quite get them home. I think it's really important early on for the Wildcats, especially after what we saw for that first out. I think it's really important for this team to see at least a run scored here in this first inning with such a good opportunity.
Yeah, it was a big kind of jolt in the lineup and the energy of this Oak Ridge Ball Club with Warren East to lead off triple on the first pitch of the game. Although he did not score on the 5-2 fielder's choice, Parker Free reached first and was pinch ran or courtesy run for by Andy Hudson as Kip Fagan now runs for Mikey Teasley at first base.
Good recap there, John. Right-handed pitcher is going to have one grounder to second base for the first out. They tried to double him up, but a nice hustle by Cheeto as Camden Welch hustles and beats the throw to first. So there's the second out is recorded right there at second base, but now there's runners on the corners. Cheeto at first, and Kipton Fagan in for Mikey Teasley, and Fagan is at third. So 2 on, runners on the corners with 2 outs. Peyton Witter, big game last night, slammed the door shut as the closer, and boy, what a jolt. Just a single would do right here, as it would put the Wildcats up 1-0 here in the top of the first inning. Witter, long pause before the delivery. Pitcher still fumbling around, figuring out what he wants to throw. He's set. Here's the delivery. Low and outside, ball 1. Also, we'll mention this name a couple of times, these names. Aaron Wells and Sexton Automotive, we appreciate both of them. Thanks to their contributions, the first 30 students got in free to tonight's game, as this is a packed atmosphere on the home side. Last night, John, it was a packed atmosphere on both sides, but understandably, a lot of people not able to get off work quite early enough to get down here from Johnson City, so the Wildcats with a distinct fan advantage right now.
Yeah, it's a big deal hosting or being the team that hosts the sub-state tournament. As Peyton Witter grounds that one up the middle to the shortstop onto the first baseman for the third out of the first inning. But it's a really big advantage. It's almost like a 10th man out there on the field for these Wildcats with this electric energy that these Oak Ridge fans have been bringing so far in this series. And I'm looking forward to another really good energy game today and another good game today with Mikey Teasley on the bump.
We'll collect ourselves and come back for the bottom of the first in 60 seconds. Welcome back to Bobby Hopkins Park. Alex Myers, John Ulrich with you. We want to say thanks to Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics. They are our sponsor today. Without their generous payment of $300, we would not be coming to you live. This is early on in the game, so we invite you to share this stream with those you know, especially those who aren't able to be at the park today. As the score is 0-0 here as we head to the bottom half of the first inning. Oak Ridge wearing their home uniforms in case of a doubleheader. But again, with Oak Ridge having won in a thriller last night, if Oak Ridge wins as the road team in this first game, the series is over. They're off to Murfreesboro and Science Hill's season is over. But we've got 6.5 innings to play as Mikey Teasley takes a bump for the Wildcats. First pitch swung on, hit to the shortstop. It's going to be a close play at first. Can he get there? He does. No, he does not. Cheeto was brought off the bag as he had to sky up for that one.
Legs it out.
Like he was going up for a rebound, and Dye reaches first on a bang-bang play.
Number 4, Hayden Smelser.
So both leadoff hitters reaching base here in the first inning for both teams. Oak Ridge was unable to capitalize. We'll see what Science Hill can do. Science Hill today, Oak Ridge in their home, kind of traditional, just home whites with cardinal trim and pinstripes. There's one that's just hit off the nub of the bat. It goes to second for one, goes to first for two, and there's the double play. Great play, heads-up play by Mikey Teasley, tossing it back to Wood. Then Wood fired to first over to Cheeto. And just like that, there's no traffic on the base. And Science Hill, though, Oak Ridge, good-looking uniform. Science Hill, I can say the same about them, but might need sunglasses if you're watching them in person. Bright yellow pants, cardinal, kind of maroon, traditional Science Hill primary color on top. Numerals yellow as well. 2 pitches into this third at bat, and he's up 0-2 is Teasley. Teasley working with a frantic pace right now, waiting on the hitter. He is rip, roaring, and ready to go. Here's the third pitch, swung on, hits straight to Wood at short. Wood taps his glove, throws it to Cheeto, and that's your third out. Quick work for Mikey Teasley in the Wildcat infield, as that was a really clean inning from Oak Ridge to start things off from the fielding standpoint. it'll be Ferreira, Wood, and Cy Stevens hitting 1, 2, and 3 here as we're halfway through the lineup as we head to the top of the second inning. Scoreless here from Bobby Hopkins Park in this second game of the 3-game series with a state championship bid on the line.
Cheeto first pitch, Peyton second pitch. Accidentally turned on. Nice job, Alex.
Welcome back to Bobby Hopkins Park. Alex Myers, John Ulrich with you. Thanks to Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics for sponsoring our stream today. Share it if you're on YouTube watching live or listening. Share it. John, pitch count for the first inning, pretty low for both pitchers, Mikey especially.
Yeah, Mikey, no strikeouts in that first inning, but he got 2 first pitch outs and then a 3-pitch ground out to end the bottom of the first frame. And then only 11 pitches on the other side for Science Hill's starting pitcher, Hagan Gibson.
Gibson throws one here to start this inning. It's going to get down deep left center. Back to the warning track where it falls against the fence. He's going to stretch for 2. He's going for 3. Here comes the cutoff. It's not going to be close. A leadoff triple for the second straight inning for the Wildcats. Richie Ferreira.
Richie did a great job right there, going the other way, going with the pitch, driving that thing to the left center gap where it's 368 in this really big Bobby Hopkins ballpark. And he legs out the triple to lead off this top of the second inning.
I'm not going to lie. I was concerned. When I saw him round second, I thought, I don't know if he's got enough to get there. Turns out it really wasn't close. Excellent base running there. A nice job by Coach Free waving him on. Runner on third with no outs for the number 2 hole hitter in this inning. That's number 1, the shortstop, Noah Wood. First pitch ball. There's a second pitch. It's going to be a soft grounder to the shortstop. Ferreira will score. Wood cannot quite beat out the throw, but he does his job. Richie Ferreira scores, and it was a close play. Wood almost legged that one out, but it's 1-0 Wildcats here in the top of the second inning.
Batting now for Oak Ridge, the left fielder, number 22, Cy Stevens.
Cy Stevens stepping in. Third batter of this inning is a beautiful breaking ball. Slides in there for a first pitch strike. Here's the second pitch. Just misses the outside corner. Ball 1, and it's 1-1. I want to thank Mark Haste. If you're watching today's stream versus the past few streams, you notice this one's, watch out, John Ulrich. Here's the ball coming right back beside us. Ooh, and that just hits a few feet away from John. Thank goodness the concession stand line, they're efficient, and there wasn't a big line because that could have hit somebody. But if you're noticing, the scoreboard looks a little more detailed, more like a baseball game. And that is thanks to Mark Haste, who not only set that up, but is here after work, running the show today, so he's doing that. John Ulrich doing camera work and score in our scorebook today. As here's a ball from Cy Stevens hit to deep right, backs up the right fielder, but he's going to slide under it and make the play for out number 2. Thank you to David Clary, who's producing this game, our executive producer. And again to Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics for sponsoring the stream.
Number 10, Whit Reniger.
Whit Reniger up to bat now. He is the 9-hole hitter for the Wildcats. So if he can reach base, Oak Ridge's single-season hits record holder as of about a week ago will get a chance to bat. And he does. First pitch swung on and roped into right field. He'll stop at first, excuse me. And there's a 2-out single for Whit Reniger.
Yeah, Wildcats looking aggressive at the plate in this one. Warren's leadoff triple was on the first pitch. We had Richie's triple. Richie's leadoff triple this inning was on the first pitch, and then another first pitch base hit for Whit Reniger right there to send the Wildcats back to the top of their lineup.
And Reniger is not going to behave in a mild manner over there. He is taking an aggressive lead on first. And why not? Because the pitcher needs all his focus on a red-hot Warren East and his bat. 2 outs, runner on first. They're going to throw back.
Nope.
Chase Reniger back to first, but to no avail. The scoreboard says 1 out. I'm correct in saying there's 2 outs, right, John?
There was Noah Woods' ground out that scored Richie Ferreira, and then Cy Stevens flew out to right field.
Thank you very much. Had some scoreboard trouble last night. A runner on first goes. He stumbles, and the ball's going to get past the second baseman who tried to get the throw down from the catcher. And thankfully, Whit Reniger is safe at second. A little bit of a stumble there when he went to break for second, but thanks to the kind of fumbled ball there at second, he's in there safe. So now he's in scoring position. A base hit probably scores Reniger from second. Warren East, 1-0 the count. He's going to ask for time after a lengthy pause by the pitcher. Home plate umpire says step back in. Warren East does so. East fouls pitch back behind the dugout. And it's 1-1. Lots of former Wildcats and future Wildcats in the building today, as a lot of them just kind of took off after school and came this way. 1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs and a runner on second. Oak Ridge's leadoff hitter as the full lineup has gone through once here in the top of the second. Boy, Whit Reniger is heavily distracting the pitcher right now, is he not, John Ulrich?
He sure is.
He is highly consumed by what Reniger is doing at second base. Here's a ball. Will it stay fair? It won't. It would have easily scored and would have been a no-doubter double for Warren East, but it goes just a tad to the right of that right field foul line. So it's 1-2 with 2 outs. Whit Reniger, the 9-hole hitter, reached first, stole second. And Oak Ridge looking to add to their 1-0 lead here in the top of the second. Again, they're wearing their home uniform. They're playing at home, but in this second of 3 games, they are the road team. Runner's going to steal third easily. He's going to stand up. No throw after the pitch was high. And now a single would be a no-doubt score. Reniger, it's pretty cool to have your 9-hole hitter have that kind of effect on the base path. 2-2 the count with 2 outs and a runner on third for Warren East. Righty on righty matchup. Ball gets past the catcher, and it's going to easily be a steal home from Whit Reniger. So you've talked about it the last couple of weeks, how the aggression tends to pay off. An aggressive base path again. Whit Reniger just reached first. He stole second, third, and home to double Oak Ridge's lead.
Yeah, that's the kind of pressure that that Coach Free preaches, putting on these opposing teams. As you saw, Whit Reniger stole second, then stole third, and then while he's putting that pressure on the opposing pitcher, causes him to throw a wild pitch, which allows another Wildcat run to reach the plate here in the second inning.
There's going to be a foul ball. Watch out again, folks. That one's going to be caught. Nice catch as it takes the Science Hill fan down on his back, but he did catch the ball. One of the best fielding plays we've seen thus far, made by a fan. So it's a full count now, 3-2. As Warren East picks up strike 2 with the foul ball there. 3-2, bases cleared now with 2 outs. Parker Free to our left in the on-deck circle just in front of his own dugout. He's got his catcher's gear on from the knees down. But he'll have to take them off if Warren East can reach base. Oh, wow. They called a strike there. I thought it was a little bit outside. Warren East thought it was a little bit outside, but the umpire thought differently. But the inning is a success. 2 runs scored, and the Wildcats go up 2-0 here in the top of the second. As we head to the bottom of the second, it will be Vermillion, Wells, and Sam Lane up to bat for Science Hill. Welcome back to Bobby Hopkins Park, where the Wildcats get 2 across home plate in the top of the second. They lead it 2-0 as we head to the bottom of the second inning, and the Hilltoppers are up to bat. It'll be number 9, the 8-hole hitter. Excuse me. Number 9, the 4-hole hitter, Aiden Vermillion, as Mikey Teasley ended last inning. 3 outs in just 5 pitches. Teasley, righty on righty matchup. Here's the first. It's a breaking ball behind the head of Vermillion. Vermillion wisely ducks out of the way of that. We want to thank Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics for sponsoring tonight's stream. Not able to do this without somebody ponying up so we can pay the TSSAA. And thank you to Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics. There's a strike. 2-1 now, 3 pitches into this bottom half of the second inning. Teasley, again, we saw him work with that frantic pace, just really quick and aggressive. Here's going to be a swing, barely hits it. It's going to be a charging shortstop. Can he make the play? Wow, he does. Great play by Noah Wood. I thought he was just going to eat it, John, and I thought it was going to be a smart play to do so. He bobbled the ball a couple of times. Somehow, with the pretty speedy Vermillion at the plate, he was still able to get that to first, showing off the arm right there.
Yeah, Noah Wood, he's not the biggest guy out there on the field, but he's still got a really good glove out there at short and a really good arm, which allows him to get that, get out Aiden Vermillion at first for the first out of the third, bottom of the second. Excuse me.
There's one roped right to Wood. He's going to go to first again. Much easier play this time, and he's out for number 2.
Noah Wood once again. Batting now for Science Hill, the center fielder.
We were wondering why we were struggling to hear you,
Sam
John.
Lane.
And you pulled the old Alex Myers move where you forgot to turn your mic back on.
Whoops.
Here's a pitch outside for ball 1. So far for Teasley, he has faced 5 batters. He has retired 5 batters. Trying to end this inning here. Batter quickly ahead, 2-0. Teasley working at a quick pace. Here's one swung on and missed for strike 1. Full count. Thanks to Mr. Hudson on the grill here at Bobby Hopkins Park. I am starving, and the burgers he's cooking up smell fantastic. There's strike 2 for Teasley. 2's across the board. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs for Teasley. He's trying to retire his 6th straight batter to start this game. Breaking ball just misses. I'm not quite sure where it missed, but apparently it did.
That one looked a little bit into me, Alex.
There's a heater right down the middle, swung on and fouled. This umpire behind the plate tonight. Saw him about a week ago in that region tournament, and nothing but good things to say. He was very consistent, and what's not consistent is Mikey Teasley's footing right there as he fell as he released that one, and it showed. It went way in the dirt. Did you ever pitch on a turf mound, and if so, is that any different footing-wise? Can you tell, or once you're out there, is it all kind of the same, John?
Those rubber pellets that are out there in the turf, they move a little bit when you plant your foot in the ground. And right there, as you saw, Mikey Teasley lost his footing. Personally, I prefer dirt mounds. There's just something about the feel of them that makes them. It just makes it so much nicer to pitch on, and you know you're going to have your footing. So a tough break there for Mikey Teasley with the walk, but hopefully he'll be able to end this bottom of the second inning soon.
And I misspoke earlier. I said he had retired all 5 batters, and I forgot one reached base, but then there was a double play that got him out. So the second base runner reaches on that walk, but quickly Mikey up 0-2 against the number 7 batter, Teasley. Payoff pitch. He check swing. Did he go? They're not even going to ask. They're going to say he did not. 1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Wildcats leading 2-0. Hilltoppers with a runner on second. Runner goes, but this one's going to be fouled off back behind the bleachers. This is a must-win game for Science Hill. Obviously, if you're Oak Ridge, you don't want to do the proverbial playing with your food and keep them alive and give away a game here. But Oak Ridge, it's not do or die. For Science Hill, if they lose this game, their season is over. Oak Ridge would win the sub-state matchup, best of 3 series, and go on to Murfreesboro. Wildcat fans hoping for an early exit today. Hilltoppers needing to win this one to stay alive. If that happens, there would be a rubber match at 7 p.m. here at Bobby Hopkins Park. So if you're listening and are in the area, if the Wildcats aren't able to get this, we'd love to have you out here in person for that 7 o'clock game. But, John, hopefully that doesn't come to this. 3 straight balls for Mikey Teasley, and now it's a full count. Payoff pitch just a little bit outside. That one didn't quite catch the corner, and Science Hill's got 2 runners on with 2 outs.
Batting now for Science Hill, the shortstop, number 2, Matt.
So the shortstop comes to bat with a really good opportunity, and that is Hayden Smelzer. Here's strike 1. Fastball outside. Excuse me, that's Matt Gavin. Teasley checks the runner at second, fires one in there. Does not quite catch the outside corner. And there's 2 balls, 1 strike for Matt Gavin, wearing number 2. Here's the pitch in there for strike 2. Apologize, I misspoke a moment ago. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes now for Teasley. He's ahead in the count. Gives a check to second. Here comes the delivery. In there. What? I have no earthly idea where that missed. Do you, John?
I'm a little more directly behind the plate, and that one did look a little bit outside to me. So
all right.
I'm going to agree with the umpire here.
All right. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He was really consistent the other day, so maybe he saw something I didn't. But I'll tell you what everybody in the building saw. The batter swing and miss.
What day is it, Mike?
That's the 3rd strike. That's the 3rd out. So Mikey has a couple base runners on, but he retires him and gets out of a little bit of a pickle there in the bottom of the second. It's Oak Ridge 2, Science Hill nothing. As we head to the top of the 3rd inning, it'll be Oak Ridge's 2, 3, and 4-hole hitters. Parker Free, Mikey Teasley, and Camden Welch up to bat. Welcome back to Bobby Hopkins Park, where the Wildcats lead it here in the third inning. Parker Free up to bat as it's 2-0 Wildcats. The number 2, 3, and 4 hitters seeing the Science Hill pitcher, Hayden Gibson, for the second time here this afternoon. I guess it's officially evening now as we've passed the 5 o'clock marker. It's 5:08 here in the Eastern time zone, as this was a 4:30 start, giving time for a potential third game if necessary. Oak Ridge faithful hoping it's not. With a win tonight, Oak Ridge would go to the state championship game. With a loss, a Game 3 rubber match would be played at approximately 7 p.m. We would broadcast that one if necessary, but again, we're all hoping it doesn't come to that. Here's a hard ball hit to second, and it's going to get through the legs of the second baseman, Aiden Vermillion. That'll be recorded, I think, as an error. That's a good player out there at second base, but for whatever reason, it just took an unexpected hop last second, and he wasn't able to field that one. Parker Free reaches second for the second straight inning, or reaches first for the second straight inning, excuse me. So Andy Hudson will come on as a courtesy runner at first base. No outs as Mikey Teasley comes up to the plate for the second time today. Quick throwback to Hudson, who can get in a pitcher's head, as he's a speedy guy and is not afraid to take some aggressive strides as he kind of bounces around on the base paths out there. Teasley awaiting the first pitch. Will it come to the home plate, or will he throw back to first? After a wait, he'll go home with it. Hudson steals, but it's going to be tipped off behind the catcher into the net, and Andy Hudson will trot back to first base. 0-1 the count here as Teasley steps off, wipes his gloves, and gets some signals from Coach Travis Free on third. Signals given, communicated with Andy Hudson. First base coach for the Wildcats is Kevin McKeithen, if you recognize that name. He's also on the football staff, one of Coach Rang's more trusted veterans on that staff. Pitch number 2 high, and it's 1-1. John Ulrich, this just feels like an afternoon for baseball. A little bit hot, a little bit humid. It feels like a Tennessee baseball afternoon, does it not?
It does, Alex. Nice and sunny, too.
And you have no sunscreen on, you mentioned earlier.
Yep.
Here's the throw down to second. It's not going to be in time, and Andy Hudson steals second safely. Pitch was a ball, so it's 2-1. But we've seen this pitcher seem to get a little bit affected by runners when they get into scoring position. There is a runner in scoring position right now as Hudson takes second. Mikey Teasley, 2-1 the count. It's been a long at bat for him to have only faced 3 pitches. Hudson takes his lead at second. Pitcher checks him. He'll come home. No, he'll step off the plate. Again, there was nobody there even to throw to, but we've seen this pitcher is highly attentive to the runners on the base paths. Throw home, lined into right. That'll get in there for a base hit. Hudson's going to round third. No, and he's going to decide better of it. Coach Free calls him back. Probably the right decision with no outs and runners on the corners. Teasley reaches first.
Batting now for Oak Ridge.
And it will be Kipton Fagan, familiar face in there, as a courtesy runner for the pitcher. So Cam Welch comes up to bat with runners on the corners and no outs. He'll talk to Coach Free. Why? Because there's a pause in the action, and there's going to be a discussion with the head coach from Science Hill and this pitcher. Last night, John Ulrich, former pitcher yourself, we saw him go out to the mound. We thought he was going to take the pitcher out. He didn't. The next pitch, that proved to be the wrong decision, as the next hit was lined into the gap, and a runner scored to get things going in that 6th inning. Today the Wildcats have gotten things started a little earlier, and we'll see. Do you think he's going to leave him in there?
This early in the game, Alex, I think he will. You really gotta ride with your starter as long as you can, unless he's just really not in a groove. Which, so far, 2 runs is not bad out there for the Science Hill starter, Hagen Gibson. But he's gonna I think the Science Hill head coach is gonna stick with Gibson for a little while longer here.
Good call. You have a great feel for the game, and that is what happens. So just a discussion about the approach here, and I'm sure just trying to give him a minute to collect himself. Again, let's reset and show you the scenario. Runners on first and third with no outs as the number 4 hole hitter comes to bat. Camden Welch in the top of the third, trying to add to Oak Ridge's 2-0 lead. He will. It gets through the third baseman. Andy Hudson will score. Runner from first is trying to stretch this into third. He does. Kipton Fagan gets to third. The ball gets by the third baseman, but it's corralled. He can't go home, but Cheeto wisely, again, staying aggressive on the base patch. Coach McKeithen says go to second. He does so, and now a run scores, and there's runners on second and third with no outs here as Peyton Witter comes up to bat. Top of the third inning, Wildcats. It's been all Cardinal and Gray so far. It's 3-0 here in the second game of this series.
Good job of hitting by Cam Welch there. Once again, takes a fastball, goes the other way with it, finds the 5-6 hole, and drives in Andy Hudson from third and moves Whit Reniger to third.
And I think another scenario like last night, it's 1 pitch too late, as they're going to pull him now, as the man coming into bat, or to pitch, will be Cole Rasu. Cole Rasu has not seen action against the Wildcats in this series, but this will be his first action as he comes on in relief just 2 innings into this ball game. He is a tall pitcher. While we have a moment, I want to say thank you to Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics for sponsoring this stream. Without them paying our rights fee, we would not be on right now, and you'd have to just kind of follow along online and trying to refresh the page, or just wait till after the game and see someone post the score online. Because of their generosity, we're able to stream this game. I want to also say thank you to Aaron Wells and Sexton Automotive for paying for the first 30 student tickets tonight. It's a great value, gets students in the park. Mark Case, I'll bring you in now. You didn't know you were going to talk, but you're going to talk. I don't know how much you've seen the Wildcats, but one thing, regardless if you've seen them 10 times, 5 times, or 1 time, their aggression on the base pass really bothers pitchers on the opposing team.
Yeah, I watched the Maryville game, and you were talking about that, and I agree. I mean, very aggressive. I figured that just earlier when we had a guy on first and third with no outs, that they were going to do the typical first and third kind of fake steal. You know, you send the guy from first and they react to that, and then you just send the guy from home, and then it just causes confusion, especially at the high school level. You don't see that as much, at the college or professional levels. Their arms are so strong that they can whip the ball there. But in high school, it's a very common play once you get someone on first and third to start being aggressive that way to try to get another run across the plate. But very impressed with the Wildcats this year. Excited to come out tonight and watch them. I just hate that it's so late in the season that I finally got out here to watch them.
John Ulrich, pitcher coming in, reminds me a little bit of you physically. Tall, slender. A lot of times that means you can expect a lot of velocity.
Yeah, so far this guy warming up was, I think the hardest pitch I saw him throw warming up was 89 miles an hour. So big, tall, skinny guy, throws hard. Throws a lot harder than I did, though.
Ball hit sharply to shortstop, and they're going to throw the runner out from third. Coach Free claps his hands. And Peyton Kipton Fagan, the runner on third that was thrown out at home, did not think he was touched. From my angle, it looked like he avoided the tag, but the umpire certainly had a much better vantage point than I did. So that's twice now early in this ball game, John Ulrich, that a runner has been thrown out in a non-force play at home.
Yeah, I think that one was that one. I think he may have missed the tag, but that's a hard call as an umpire, especially at the high school level, without any sort of replay. So tough break for the Wildcats as Richie looks to keep the inning rolling here.
First pitch strike as Richie Ferreira steps into the plate. He had a nice at bat. Got a hit his first time through the lineup. He's seeing this pitcher for the first time, but it's his second at bat of the ball game. Cheeto on second base. Witter on first, and he swings and misses. It's 0-2 quickly. One out here in the top of the third. The Wildcats lead it 3-0. In game number 2 of this sub-state series. A win would end the series and send Oak Ridge to the state tournament for the second year in a row. There's the pitch, swing and a miss, and Richie will have to take a walk back to the dugout, and that's out number 2. So in comes Noah Wood. We got a nice hit in the first inning as well. This middle part of the order has really been executing at the plate the last couple of games.
Yeah, it happened later in the game yesterday where the Wildcats scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning, but so far 2 runs in the top of the 2nd and another run added on in the top of the 3rd here for the Wildcats.
High and outside for ball 1. Runners on first and second. It's Peyton Witter and Camden Welch, respectively. 2 outs here, Noah Wood. Just trying to put a ball in play here with 2 outs. Pitcher checks second. Now he's going to go home, right down the middle. That's strike 1. That one's a little bit inside, nearly catches the corner, but a nice eye to Noah Wood. There's 2 balls, 1 strike with 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd.
That's a tough pitch to lay off there from Noah Wood. An 88-mile-an-hour fastball boring in on him. It's a great take to get ahead in the count here for Noah Wood.
There's another heater, just a little bit low. There's 3-1 the count now. Noah Wood, you can be a little bit selective here, sir. Here's the pitch, and it's outside. Bases are loaded for Cy Stevens. Cy Stevens gets a fist pump and a head nod. Sense of confidence coming from Coach Free as he watches Cy Stevens walk up to the plate. Bases loaded. Wildcats looking to blow this game open here. It's 3-0. All 3 runs scored in the 2nd inning for Oak Ridge. Here in the top of the 3rd, Cy Stevens has a golden opportunity to give Mikey Teasley some more breathing room on the mound. Righty on righty matchup here for Cy Stevens. Watches one down the turnpike for strike 1. Crowd continuing to file in. It's a great crowd already, but as more people get off work, I'm sure you'll see more fans in the building the later this game goes. Breaking ball just misses. Good looking pitch there, but we're going to say ball 1. 1-1 the count. Again, 2 outs, bases loaded for Oak Ridge's 8-hole hitter, Cy Stevens. Walter State commit. Looking for a moment. pause. Here's the delivery. Catches the outside corner. Stevens didn't like that pitch. It was close, but now he's got to protect the plate. 1-2 the count. You can't go down looking here with bases loaded, John. I think you've got to continue to be aggressive.
Yeah, the Wildcats have been aggressive all game long, but a good patient plate appearance from Noah to draw the walk in the most recent plate appearance. But Cy Stevens really needs to be aggressive here and find one to drive.
Here's the pitch. Low, it's going to be hit to the shortstop. He's going to flip it to second. A little bit trouble there, but they're able to get the out and stop Oak Ridge from adding to their total. Oak Ridge still leads this one 3-0 here in the top of the third as we head to the bottom. It will be the 9-hole hitter and then the top of the order, as it'll be Darren Hill, it'll be Darren Hill, Lucas Dye, and Hayden Smelzer, the second baseman, up to bat. We'll be back in 60 seconds. Welcome back to Bobby Hopkins Park as we head to the bottom of the third. The Wildcats lead this game number 2. They've already got game 1 under their belt. They won last night's game. A win here would send them to the state tournament in Murfreesboro. It's 3-0 the lead as we head to the bottom of the third. Swung on and missed for strike 1 to the first batter here. So we're at the bottom of the order for Science Hill. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Beautiful breaking ball. Started way high and inside, and it comes right back down into the strike zone. Mikey Teasley on the mound today, pitching for Oak Ridge. Cheeto, Camden Welch, pitched last night, and it was a beauty of a game. Gave up just 2 runs. Mikey has given up nothing thus far, barely allowing them to breathe. Here's a ball hit sharply to shortstop. It's unable to be fielded, and Oak Ridge lucky that the runner was a little more aggressive and took second there. It got under the glove of Wood, so he was safe at first, but it was one of those, it was a little bit of confusion on who was going to get the ball, but thankfully the runner is held at first. So the top of the order comes back up for the Hilltoppers, and this is their opportunity to try to rally a little bit here as Lucas Dye, the left fielder, good-looking athlete for the Hilltoppers, comes to the plate. Breaking ball in at the top of the zone. That's strike 1. Some chirping going on now from Science Hill's dugout as they watch their hitter get silenced here. 0-2 now after 2 straight breaking balls. You see a fastball coming here from Teasley, or does he go back to that breaking ball?
I think he's going to go back to that breaking balls now that he's back at the top of the order, and that he tried that with the 9-hole hitter, and it ended up being an E6 in your scorebook. But
he's swinging a miss for out number 1 here in the bottom of the third. Runner on first as the 2-hole hitter Hayden Smelzer comes to the plate.
Stepping in now for Science Hill, the second
my guess was wrong there, Alex. That was a fastball for strike 3.
Hey, I don't care what he throws. If the guy swings and misses, that's a good pitch in my book. There's a heater down the pipe. swung on and just tipped foul for strike number 1. Teasley's pace has slowed down a little bit here. It doesn't seem like he's quite in the groove, as speedy as he was early in this game.
Yeah, with a runner on, he does have to take a minute as he picks over the runner and almost gets him.
That was
good move by Mikey Teasley.
Closer than I thought initially. He almost got the tag down, did Camden Welch, after a nice pickoff move by Mikey. Fans young and old here as they see a strike right there. That's the second strike of this at-batter. See Roger in the house, Coach Aaron Green, Ted Mitchell in the building. Mike Sheehan, if you're listening, we miss you, buddy. Wish you were here down here sitting with us. Shauna says bring a pillow. She needs a booster seat. We ran out of seats, so she's been the gracious one that's decided to take the shortest seat. Unfortunately for her, she's also the shortest one of us, and she's behind a brick wall right now and she can see the top of the helmets when the batter swings, but I don't know how much else she can see. There's strike 3. She can see the umpire call that one, and that's the second out of the inning. Mikey Teasley dealing here at the top of the order. 9-hole hitter got on base after an error, but the first and second batters in this lineup were retired. And here's the 3-hole hitter, Nate Stutz, the first baseman, a big athlete, looking just to give a little life to this Hilltopper team who so far has been totally shut out. Fastball up a little bit and in, and that's going to be a close one, but it's going to be ball 1. 2 outs, runner on first for Science Hill in the bottom of the 3rd. He does. Mark Case says he looks like he could hit the long ball. I agree. There's strike 2. He was trying that time. It was a big, big swing from the first baseman, but he caught nothing but air, and it's 1-1. Breaking ball catches the top of the zone. There's strike 2. So the Hilltoppers maybe starting to feel a little pressure. Desperately need to find some form of life. They won't do it here. Mikey Teasley shuts them down. There's the 3rd out of the inning, and we head to the top of the 4th with the Wildcats leading 3-0 here from Bobby Hopkins Park.
Yeah, great job by Mikey Teasley there to strike out the side and work around that leadoff error to get out of the 3rd inning.
Welcome back to Bobby Hopkins Park. Alex Myers with you. Beside me, doing camera work and color commentary, along with our stats today, is John Ulrich. Mark Haste keeping things running on from a technical standpoint as the first pitch of the at-bat here in the top of the 4th is fouled off. Mark Haste and Shauna Haste with us. To my left, if you'll notice the scoreboard, it looks much more like a baseball game, and it looks good if you're a Wildcat fan because it's 3-0 in favor of the boys in Cardinal and Gray here in the top of the fourth. And still early, but a couple things to note. Oak Ridge won the first game of this best-of-3 series last night, so if they're able to hold on today, they'll be going to Murfreesboro at the state tournament. If they do that, we can't stream video, but we will be streaming audio live from Murfreesboro. David Clary will be with you. He's our executive producer today's ball game, all series, and last week's as well. And why are you able to watch this stream? Well, it costs us money, but thanks to the kindness and generosity of Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics, they were able to sponsor us, allow people to watch from home. This one's a great piece of hitting into shallow right field, and it will be Whit Reniger reaching base for the second time today as he gets another single, and Warren East due up the leadoff hitter with no outs and a runner on first.
A great piece of hitting there from Whit Reniger. Takes that fastball and drives it into the right center gap for his second base hit of the ball game.
We mentioned the great crowd here, thanks to Aaron Wells and Sextup Automotive for paying for the first 30 student tickets tonight. So we see a crowd of all ages, a lot of students thanks to their generosity. Pitcher's going to quickly throw off to first to no avail. Whit Reniger slides safely back. Warren East now with a clean count steps into the batter's box. Righty on righty matchup. Wind blowing left to right here at the City Complex. That one's going to be outside, ball one. Now, to me, something to note, it looked like Warren East was about to show bunt and quickly pulled it back. But he just checked his wristband, got something from Coach Free, and we'll see if he decides to do that again or if he just tries to swing the bat. There's a wasp near us, and John Ulrich. John Ulrich is borderline freaking out, so hopefully the camera's not shaking too much.
I'm deathly afraid of wasps, for those who don't know.
He does lay down a beautiful bunt down the third base line. I don't know if he'll get him. He won't. Runner safe at first. The first base runner gets to second safely. Warren East is just a professional hitter. He is a whale of a baseball player in just a sophomore. He's now adding to his total. He's already the Wildcats program histories, their single season hits leader. He broke the record at 55 about a week ago and is just continuing to add on to that. So 2 on, no outs, as Parker Free, the catcher, steps up to the plate for the Wildcats. Pitcher steps off. Again, both pitchers we've seen highly attentive to the Oak Ridge base runners, and I can understand why with how many steals we've seen already. Parker shows bunt, but he pulls back as this one's high. Pitcher starting to struggle a little bit just to get balls in the strike zone. Do you think, as a former pitcher yourself, that the base traffic on the base pad, do you think that's part of what's causing that kind of lack of focus, or do you think he's just having control issues?
Most definitely. Those base runners, the pitcher already has enough things to worry about, just getting mechanics right going to the plate. But adding in these speedy Oak Ridge base runners is another thing that you have to worry about. You got a lot of speed in Whit Reniger and a lot more speed in Warren East as Parker Free bunts that one foul.
So the count is even at 1-1, and that was a really good bunt attempt. It went foul, but it was another one that was just tapped lightly down the third base line. It was going to be a tough play for the third baseman to make to get him out at first, as Parker's a nice athlete as well. Backup quarterback for the Wildcats the last couple years, and he's got a great arm, obviously, but he's also a pretty good runner. 1 ball, 1 strike, no outs. Runners on first and second for Parker Free here in the top of the fourth. Pitcher is going to get himself dizzy if he's not careful, looking back at second so many times. Finally looks home and delivers a nice pitch in there for strike 2, and it's 1-2. Wind picking up a little bit, probably about 5 miles an hour now, left to right again, as the sun has taken a break and is resting behind the clouds here.
Nope.
Pitcher steps off again. Parker Free steps away and steps back into the batter's box. 1-2 the count, no outs with the runner on first and second. That one's going to be breaking ball. It's going to be fouled off. And does somebody catch it? No. Catcher ran into the first baseman. And it was a great hustle and effort by both of them. And I thought the first baseman was able to come up with it, but ball hit the ground. The umpire behind the plate says, nope, no out. So Parker stays alive here. On deck is the 4-hole hitter for Oak Ridge. Or 3-hole hitter, excuse me, Mikey Teasley. In the hole is Camden Welch. Catcher had an equipment issue. Looked like Mikey helped him with it, actually. Nice show of sportsmanship. So he's got to readjust the earpiece. Again, in high school baseball now, you can communicate. Your pitching coach can communicate what pitches to call with the catcher, so they do have earpieces in. Finally, we're back to action here. 1-2 the count with no outs, runner on first and second. Pitch low, but it's going to be belted right towards the right fielder. He catches it, and the runner on second had to take a quick hustle back because Whit Reniger had taken a huge jump. By the time the ball was caught in right field, he was about 70% of the way to third base. I think he thought because of the trajectory it was kind of low, hit kind of a low line drive, but it had enough lift to carry, and it was a close play. He almost got thrown out.
Yeah, that looked like it was going to be a sinking line drive off the bat of Parker Free, but I guess he backspun that one a little bit, and it almost ended up carrying over the right fielder, and a bad throw into the cutoff allows Whit Reniger to get back to second safely.
Pretty good contact by Parker, just hit it to the wrong spot. 1 out now with runners on first and second for Teasley, and he's going to take a base. That one hits him on the arm. Looks like he's going to shake that one off and be all right, thankfully. And that loads the bases for Oak Ridge. Double play is in play. If you're Science Hill, that's what you're desperately hoping for to limit the damage. As Kipton Fagan will come in for Mikey as a courtesy runner. Again, catchers and pitchers get free courtesy runners in high school baseball. So Fagan's on first in place of Teasley. Warren East is at second, and at third base is Whit Reniger. Cam Welch stepping in. Great night last night in the field as a first baseman after he was moved from pitcher, where he had a nice performance as usual. Now he's hoping to come through with his bat. Bases loaded. First pitch, a little low, but it's in the strike zone, and that's 0-1. Welch kind of shakes his head, bites his lip, takes a deep breath, sighs, and now he'll come back into the batter's box. Left-handed hitter facing a right-handed pitcher here with 1 out. And Science Hill calls for time. They're going to come in and think about this one. First baseman called for this one. What's he saying to the pitcher?
I think this mound visit quick just from his first baseman and catcher may be assigned to try to back pick the runner at first. Maybe he's getting a little bit too big of a lead. Or maybe just some words of encouragement telling this pitcher, hey, you can get through this. But we'll see what they were talking about here in just a moment.
Oh, the count. Pitch swung on and missed. Nice pitch, had a little late movement. Inside out for the Science Hill pitcher. Camden Welch, nicknamed Cheeto. You'll hear folks behind us throughout the game cheering him on, calling him that. Almost no one calls him Camden or Cam. We call him a little bit of both. We'll call him Clutch if he can get a hit here. He hits a chopper right back up the middle. It's going to be fielded by the pitcher, and he hasn't have a play. So we will call him clutch. Clutch to first base as Whit Reniger scores, and the bases remain loaded with 1 out here in the top of the 4th.
Yeah, just a high chopper back to the pitcher, and for some reason the first baseman decided to charge in and try to make that play, and then there was nobody covering first base, which allows Cheeto to reach and get another much-needed insurance run here for the Wildcats in the top of the 4th inning.
Bases loaded for Peyton Witter, the designated hitter for Oak Ridge. With 1 out, he steps up to the plate. Wildcats leading 4-0 here in the top of the 4th. Pitch in there for strike 1, and I think Oak Ridge, now you saw them so aggressively taking the bats at the top of this game, first couple innings. Now with some command issues being shown here, I think wisely they've adjusted their strategy and forcing him to throw a strike before they swing away.
You know, there's still some pretty quick at-bats. Hasn't been an at-bat in this inning yet. That's been more than 5 pitches. So these Wildcats are still being pretty aggressive hitters, but definitely looking to get maybe a little bit deeper in the count here in the 4th inning.
The news station is here, as Coach Gaddis would refer to them, Knoxville Media. They're here trying to get some highlights from the Wildcats since they've been here, I think, all game, so they've got some, I'm sure, at this point. Play back in action now as that ball is just outside. That's the first ball of the at-bat. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Just 1 out here with the Wildcats. Bases are loaded for Peyton Witter. There's the pitch. It's going to be grounded to the shortstop. They're going to get 1 at second base. Witter will get to first safely, and Warren East will cross home plate safely. Runner from second moves to third. They do get 1 out, but not before Peyton Witter drives in a run for the Wildcats. It's now 5-0 Oak Ridge here in the top of the 4th inning. We're having some scoreboard issues. If you can see the scoreboard from the actual scoreboard here at the park, it shows 6-0. The correct score is 5-0. As the Wildcats, Richie Ferreira steps up to bat. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. Speaking of clutch, here's a guy who lives for big moments. Richie Ferreira, lefty facing the right-handed hitter. Belts 1 up the middle, and that's going to be a run. Richie Ferreira goes to first. Runner is Witter at second. He thinks about going to third, but he'll stop. 2 runners on, a runner scores. Richie Ferreira, an RBI as he knocks in Kipton Fagan with 2 outs. It is now 6-0. Scoreboard operator, you may keep the score as it was. Noah Wood has had a nice game so far, and he steps up to the plate with a chance to do more damage here. Science Hill hanging on by a thread, trying to get out of this inning. Unfortunately for them, Mikey Teasley is still on the mound, but they've got bigger things to worry about right now. They just need to get out of this half inning. It's 6-0. Wildcats has scored 3 in the second and 3 here in the 4th, and it's 6-0 here. Oak Ridge won last night, so with a win in this ball game, they would punch their ticket to the state tournament. With a loss, if Science Hill's able to come back, we'll remind you, there'll be a secondary game following this one, approximately 7 p.m. We would stream that if necessary. Also remind you that if the Wildcats advance to the state tournament, we will be streaming, but it will be audio only. We're not allowed to stream video from there. Tonight's stream brought to you by Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics. Thank you to those guys for sponsoring tonight's stream. Several scouts in the house tonight, watching guys on both teams. Wind's picking up again now, working left to right from Bobby Hopkins Park. Here's a pitch, breaking ball, beauty. Started way high, drops down into the zone, and that's strike 2. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs with 2 men on, first and second.
Wind's starting to blow a little bit here. I just got hit in the head with a Diet Coke wrapper, Alex.
Better that than that wasp you were
That's true. It's very true.
swatting at a moment ago. I thought Noah Wood got hit. What's going on? Umpire gets hit, and the runner's advance for Oak Ridge. We'll have to pause. Umpire took a shot, and unfortunately, he's got that big pad on. I think it hit him on the side. So or maybe the hand. I heard it hit, and it did not sound like it hit based on his reaction, it did not hit the pad. That's something you don't like to see. That's unfortunate.
No, I'm not quite sure where that one caught him, but that's never a good sign as he was hunched over at the plate.
And in a show of grit and toughness, you could tell he crippled him for a second. He fell down, and then he tried to stand up to kind of allow the play to keep going to see what was going on, and Coach Free kind of throws his hands up, stops the runners at second and third, and they all pause. Mark Haste, you were right. They're checking his hand out right now, which would make sense because there's no padding there, and, boy, they're looking at the top of his hand, and if you got hands like mine, there's no meat on the back side of your hand, so that cannot be fun. Both coaches out to check on the umpire now. In a show of sportsmanship. I think he's going to be all right, but certainly has earned a breather. We may end up having a home umpire switch. He may move. I think they're just getting him some water right now. Let's take a quick, while we got a second and the music's not playing, Mark Case, I want to get your thoughts just on what we've seen so far. A couple of big innings leading to a Wildcat lead, 6-0 here in the top of the fourth.
I tell you what, I'm really impressed with the Oak Ridge bats. They just seem to have no fear, and they're very aggressive. And once they get on the bases, they're aggressive on the bases, as you said. One of the best plays I thought was the first bunt that we had. You want to talk about a textbook bunt. That bunt was absolutely exceptional. It was by the center fielder, who was typically your fastest player on the team anyway. So he did a great job of getting that bunt down and getting on to first. So just really, really enjoying watching the Wildcats here. A nice lead, 6-0 here in the fourth inning. So, hopefully the Wildcats can keep it up as the Science Hill pitcher digs in.
Jeff Huckabee, again, we mentioned he and Versalytics are the sponsor allowing us to stream today's game, and hopefully you're enjoying it as much as we are. He's listening from Sharpsburg, Georgia. Back in action now. That one's going to be fouled out by Noah Wood. Full count remains here. After a break, umpire's okay. We appreciate his efforts today, and boy, that was tough, but he's tough and he'll hang in there. Runners on second and third after that wild sequence of events, but it's a full count for Noah Wood, hoping to keep the Wildcats inning alive. It's been a productive one, 3 runs here. That one's down the middle. Strike. Oak Ridge fans didn't love that call. I think it was the right call. And that'll retire Noah Wood, but a productive, tremendous inning on the base pass for the Wildcats. They score 3, double their lead. It's 6-0 here in Game 2. It would be a series-clinching win for the Wildcats if they can hold on, but they've got to get through 2.5 more innings. Mikey Teasley goes out to warm up. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll keep things rolling here from Bobby Hopkins Park.
Would like to thank Aaron Wells and Sexton Automotive Group for donating.
Mikey's at 43 through 3. That second inning really got him pitch-wise.
Welcome back to Bobby Hopkins Park. Alex Myers with you. John Ulrich by my side. Mark Haste operating our scoreboard and our stream. Thanks to Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics for sponsoring today's stream. As we head to the bottom of the fourth, John Ulrich, your thoughts on this ball game so far? A lot of work done, but still work to be done if they want to continue towards the state tournament, which they would do if the Wildcats can close this game out.
Yeah, the Wildcat bats look hot today, continuing on from the 6th inning last night as they just scored 3 runs in the top of the 4th inning. As Mikey Teasley hits the first batter of the inning, Vermillion, with a fastball inside.
Just got away from him just a tad. It was a pretty good pitch. It wasn't real far inside, but it was just enough inside to just barely scrape the batter, and he'll be all right as he heads to first. And Science Hill, again, you don't have to get all 6 runs in one inning, but you do have to start somewhere. And even just getting the base is tough against this Oak Ridge pitching staff. There's one lined into right field. First base runner hops over it, and he'll head to second, and he'll have to be held there. Nice play by Richie Ferreira to get the ball in quickly. Well, singles, and there's 2 on, no outs. Quickly here for Science Hill. Things could start to change. Both on the first pitch, both hits, well, both runners reach on the first pitch this inning. But I'll say this, they had 2 on last inning, and Mikey got him out. Another chance to do that here. Teasley checks the runner at second, fires the first pitch to the third batter, and it's going to be high and outside, ball 1. That one's going to be piped down the middle. It's going to be a high pop fly to shallow left field. The catch is going to be made, and the runners will hold at second and third. Cy Stevens made the play in left field. Warren East beside him in center. Richie Ferreira in right. At third base, pitch inside, and that catches him on the leg. So now the bases are loaded with just 1 out here for Science Hill, as Mikey's seen a couple of balls meant to go a little inside, go a lot inside, and with 1 out, the bases are loaded. Science Hill, if you're the Hilltopper fan, you have to feel like this is the moment where you have to make a dent. It would be incredibly deflating for them if they didn't get out of here with a few runs. One the count here. Pretty pitch, does not catch the corner. I thought it did, but it's 2 balls, 1 strike. Let's go around the infield now. Carson Fagan at third, Noah Wood at short, Whit Reniger at second, and at first base it is Camden Welch. Behind the plate, Parker Free on the bump. Pitching today, Mikey Teasley. 2-2. The count, 1 out, bases loaded for Science Hill. They haven't scored a run today. They've got a chance to score several here in the bottom of the 4th. Again, Oak Ridge playing at home, but they're the road team in this second game of the series. Mikey fires one in, 86 miles an hour, and he could not catch up to that one. So there's the second out. And what a moment in this ball game. If Mikey Teasley could work out of this jam, heads just probably kind of sink in deflation. From the Science Hill fan base, this is a big outer batter right here. This is the bottom of the order. Darren Hill, the third baseman, up to bat. If he's able to reach the top of the order, he's been kind of quiet today. Lucas Dye, they would be up. First pitch, a little bit outside ball. Here's the second, the delivery. Just the bottom corner. And that's a strike, 1-1 the count. 2 outs. Teasley on the mound, trying to get out of a jam. Bases are loaded. Mikey has not surrendered a run yet. And he won't do it right there. I'm not sure where that missed. Breaking ball, a little bit low, says John Ulrich. 2 balls, 1 strike. There's such thing as good pitches that miss, and that one was. Just couldn't quite get him to chase. Batter calls time.
Yeah, that 1-1 curveball from Mikey there, that was just out of zone. That's a great pitch if you're 1-2 or 0-2, just way ahead in the count. But trying to battle his way back in as that one's on the outside corner for strike 2.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Mikey Teasley looking confidently on. Waits for the batter to say he's ready. He is. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on, and this batter will stay alive. As that one hits the back of the net, or the net behind home plate, I should say. 2-2, the count remains.
Mikey with 5 strikeouts so far this game, looking for his 6th of the game to get out of this jam here in the bottom of the 4th.
Oh, swung on and fouled. Parker Free hits him right in the face mask, but thankfully he quickly says, I'm okay. Batter stays alive again. Thanks to Aaron Wells and Sexton Automotive for paying for the first 30 students to tonight's ball game. Seen a lot of other athletes from other sports here tonight. We love to see that. Teasley eyes the batter. Waits for the signal from Parker Free. He gets it. Let's see what he throws here. Delivery, swung on, missed. Strike 3, and Mikey Teasley works himself out of the jam. No. And the Wildcats. Three full innings away from Greensboro in the state tournament. We'll remind you, if they get to the state tournament, radio crew will be broadcasting live from there, but there will be no video streaming. It will be audio only. We're able to stream today's game because of the kindness and help of Jeff Huckabee, who's listening to us from Sharpsburg, Georgia, and Versalytics. They are sponsoring this stream. We appreciate them greatly for doing so. John Ulrich, you were a part of the first team to go to state in 52 years? Last year, in this moment, you're starting to feel it, but you know you can't take your foot off the gas. You've got a talented team across the way. What's going on through the minds and emotionally if you're in that Oak Ridge dugout right now?
Going through their minds right now, you really you have to make, in your mind, make it a tie game. And really just keep battling and battling to keep getting ahead of these Science Hill pitchers, keep adding runs. But most importantly, emotionally, there's a ton of momentum in the Oak Ridge dugout right now and in the fan base. So they're looking to try to ride that momentum and keep adding more runs and more runs onto their lead here in the top of the 5th inning.
Cy Stevens to bat, lead things off here in the top of the 5th, as you mentioned, for the Wildcats. Sees a couple balls go down. And it's 2-0 for Stevens. There's a strike for Science Hill. Count moves to 2-1. Stevens can still be rather selective right here. It's the pitcher who came in relief in the 3rd inning. Oh, loses control of that one, and that hits Stevens in the back, right on that 22. He's going to take his base. The pitcher, though, I was mentioning, is still in the ball game. He's had some struggles, but trying to keep things together here in the top of the 5th. Pitcher is Cole Rasu. So after Cy Stevens is hit, he'll come out, and Andy Hudson will come in as the pinch runner at first. And kind of on that note, Coach for Science Hill comes to the mound. I don't think he's taken him out quite yet. But as we look to our right, into the bullpen of the visiting bullpen, Sam Royston, number 10, is warming up. And he's doing so very quickly. So I would assume they're going to try to have a lengthy conversation to buy him a little bit of time here. And maybe just say, hey, pace yourself, throw a few more pitches, try to get through this batter, and we'll get you out of there soon. He is going to remain in there. Will Cole Rasu, tall pitcher for Science Hill. 6-0 the score here. Wildcats looking to hold on. A win would clinch a state tournament berth and send the Cats to Murfreesboro for the second year in a row.
Something I'm noticing here is the third baseman for Science Hill, Darren Hill, is playing way in for the bunt from Reniger. As a pickoff throw back to first, Andy Hudson gets back in safely.
Yeah, he's into the grass in the infield. Great point and observation there. He's probably 15 feet in front of the third base. And just as I expected, the manager or the head coach rather for Science Hill, I'm sure that was given instructions. Why don't you pick off to first a couple times to buy our pitcher who's warming up a little more time. He will go home right here. Nice pitch just off the outside corner, and that's ball one. Wouldn't be surprised to see another pickoff here, as the pitcher over there should be just about ready to go. I'd say this will probably be the last batter that Rasu sees. Pitch in there a little high, but in there for strike one. 1-1 the count. No outs here with a runner on first. Whit Reniger, the 9-hole hitter, up to bat for the Wildcats. His team up 6-0 here, again in the top of the 5th inning. Throw over to first, no tag even. Pretending to throw the tag on right now. So they're just kind of buying time. Been 5 balls thrown, 3 of them have gone to first, only 2 have gone home. There's the 6th, and it is thrown home. That's going to be fouled off behind the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Reniger. Coach Free barking out signals from third base. We'll see if he tries to lay one down or with 2 strikes. My guess is he'll be swinging away. Ooh, way inside. Gets away from the catcher, and Andy Hudson will trot easily into second base. So the runner advances, and that's been a little bit of a problem here for Science Hill today, is just kind of blunders in the field. Nothing crazy, but when you're as aggressive as Oak Ridge is on the base paths, one little mistake can start to snowball on you, and that happened earlier in this ball game. Here's the pitch, fouled off toward the Science Hill dugout. Count is even at 2-2 here. No outs. Top of the 5th inning. Wildcats leading 6-0. Whit Reniger, the 9-hole hitter, up to bat for the Wildcats with Andy Hudson pinch running for Cy Stevens, who was hit. He took his base to first. Andy Hudson just stole second. And that's where we're at with no outs. Reniger calls for time. And he'll step back in. Hudson agitating, and now they're going to force him to step off.
Nope.
Third baseman now with Hudson threatening to steal is moved back much closer to the base. Reniger, nice at bat here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Reniger is seen enough of this waiting game, and he's going to ask for time. Long, lengthy at bat here for Whit Reniger. 2-2 the count. Pitcher goes home with it, and someone might be going home with the shattered windshield as Reniger fouls one into the parking lot.
That one may have been at my car, Alex.
Well,
I parked a little close today.
Say, I got here. I have a little bit of excuse. I was coming from work. I got here right before the game, so I'm pretty far down there, near the former softball complex. So I think I should be safe. Andy Hudson with a big lead at second. Pitcher's going to go home anyways. 2-2 count. Swing and a miss, but he actually tipped the ball. But it was caught by the catcher, and that's out number 1.
Stepping in now for Oak Ridge, the center fielder.
Oak Ridge has got the top of the order back up for the 4th time today. Warren East, the all-time leading hits, all-time single-season hits leader for the Wildcats and counting. Just a sophomore. He leads things off.
I think you can, even just based on the game today, tell why he's why he's set the record for Oak Ridge single-season hits. He tripled in his first at-bat to center field as he bunts one foul there, and then he also was able to bunt for a single. So he's got a lot of speed, allowing him to get on in a multitude of ways, whether it be driving the ball or just laying down a good bunt in the infield and reaching first with his speed. So a really good hitter, really good leadoff hitter, and number 4 Warren East right here.
And just in talking to him and hearing him talk to you in the interviews, he seems very mature, his mindset, for someone who's just a sophomore. Andy Hudson agitating again. The pitcher steps off. There's nobody back there to throw. Coach Free happy with him. Is clearly the pitcher has got a little bit of a split focus. Part of his mind at second base, part of his mind at the plate, and you better have all your focus on Warren East when he's at the plate. Ball just outside, evens the count at 1-1. Runner on second, 1 out here in the 6th. Wildcats leading this sub-state game number 2, 6-0 in the top of the 5th inning. They are the home team on the scoreboard, or excuse me, home team. They're playing at home, but they are the road team on the scoreboard. Bunt attempt. Just foul. It started foul, rolled back fair just in front of the catcher, home plate, but it was a foul ball, so the count goes to 1-2. Going to stay alive, fouling this ball off. Count remains at 1-2 with 1 out and a runner at second. Runner is Andy Hudson. Coach Free communicating with him. Any pass ball, Hudson is hyper aggressive on the base paths. He will be at third. He's got a big lead from second right now. Pitcher notices that, takes a gander. Now he'll look home. He'll throw. Pitch is going to be hit into left field. Hudson's going to go to 3. Will he stay? He will. And a nice piece of hitting there. Warren East hits a single with 1 out and moves Hudson to third. So runners on the corners with only 1 out. And Oak Ridge's 2-hole hitter, Parker Free, who hands Warren East's bat back to his youngest brother. Pretty cool moment there, who's the bat boy for this team. Free lets out a little smile as he hands it to little bro. And now Parker will step in up to the plate. Right-handed hitter, also this team's catcher. With 1 out and runners on the corners here in the top of the 5th inning with a 6-0 lead for the Wildcats. Runner from first goes. Breaking ball had no shot to even try to throw that one down, so it does fall in for a strike. And now the catcher calls time.
Yeah, it was amazing. I don't know how he can even get a jump that good. It was like the very instant that the pitcher's leg went up, or maybe even a little bit before his leg went up. Warren he just got a great jump and was at second almost before the pitch even got to the plate.
And I'm really surprised, John, that they've taken as long as they have to get the pitcher into the ball game. He's a right-handed guy, and he's ready to go. He's not even throwing anymore. I'm surprised that they didn't go ahead and put him in. after delaying earlier. Here's a pitch inside to Parker Free. Ball's going to be hit. Nice play by the shortstop to charge in, get it, check the runner at third, make sure Andy wasn't going home, and he tosses to first for out number 2. So Mikey Teasley up to bat. Mikey Teasley with 2 on, runners at second and third with 2 outs. Teasley always relaxed as a hitter, but I'm sure he's even more relaxed now, as this team has given him a 6-0 lead. And another mound visit from the catcher. John, you're more knowledgeable than I am. Is there a limit to how many times the catcher can go out there?
In high school, I don't believe there is.
Well, maybe there should be. I said, well, maybe there should be.
Yeah, maybe. I think that's probably their 7th or 8th of the game.
And the problem is, I would get it if they were trying to delay to give the guy, the pitcher in the bullpen, a little more time, but he's not even throwing now. He's just kind of looking on with who appears to be the pitching coach down there, down the right field line in the bullpen. Action resumes. Here's the pitch. High to Teasley for ball 1. (1-0) the count, 2 outs with runners on second and third. Here in the top of the 5th, Oak Ridge leads Science Hill 6-0. Pitch gets past the catcher, and Andy Hudson's going to stand up and cross the plate for Oak Ridge's 7th run.
Andy Hudson scores.
Hudson scores. Warren East goes to third. And the lead is 7-0. I want to say thanks again to Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics for sponsoring tonight's stream. Also thanks to Aaron Wells and Sexton Automotive for paying for the first 30 students into tonight's ball game. Without Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics, you would not be able to watch this game live. So thank you for helping us make this broadcast happen. Again, if Oak Ridge is able to hold on to this victory and advance to Murfreesboro, the Prep Radio crew will be broadcasting live any and all Oak Ridge games, but they will be audio only. Doesn't matter the amount of money that we offer. Video broadcasting is not allowed, so it will just be audio. But there's more game to finish. Job's not done yet. Pitch to Teasley, comes back into the zone for strike 1. It's 3 balls, 1 strike. Teasley can still be reserved here and wait on the perfect pitch for him. Here's the pitch, swung on, foul. Right back to Coach Free over on third base. Full count for Teasley, 3 balls, 2 strikes. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Warren East on third. Ball a little bit outside, and Teasley takes his base. He flips the bat as some Canadian geese do a nice little flyover here. They were here a couple hours earlier. It would have been nice for the national anthem. Hard to form a flying V, Mark Case, with only 4 geese, but they got a nice view of Mikey Teasley walking to first.
Yeah, I think they were just flying over to check the score. So nice score for the Wildcats, leading 6-0.
7-0 now, and if the geese were paying attention, they could have just watched our stream. Mark Case keeping our stream scoreboard updated. As you see runners at the corners, first and third, as Camden Welch comes in with 2 outs here with a 7-0 Wildcat lead in the top of the 5th. Runner on first is going to go, and the ball's going to get to the second baseman. He bobbles it, and a run scores because he can't corral it quick enough to throw Cheeto out at first. Warren East knocks Warren East in from third, and it's an 8-0 lead for the Wildcats. And this crowd can feel it. A trip to Murfreesboro within reach. Science Hill John Ulrich, can you think of a reason why they would have been in such a rush to get that pitcher in the bullpen warmed up and then just decided, hey, we're not even going to do them? Because I understand if you had won game one and you want to save him, but there is no next game if you're not able to stop Oak Ridge right here.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, Alex. I would have put him in this game the first mound visit that their coach took this inning. But obviously the Hilltoppers are really falling behind here. It's now 8-0 here in the top of the fifth inning.
129 folks watching our YouTube live stream, which was made possible by the generous contribution and donation of Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics. 1 ball, 1 strike for Peyton Witter. DH for today's game, played first base most of yesterday. Valuable piece for this Wildcat lineup. He's going to hit a hard shot to the shortstop, who will trot over, and mercifully for Science Hill, this inning comes to an end. 2 runs scored, and Oak Ridge takes an 8-0 lead into the bottom of the 5th inning. 9 outs away is Oak Ridge from a trip to Murfreesboro. We'll be back in 60 seconds to Bobby Hopkins Park, here live in Oak Ridge.
Wasn't the spring, and spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? Hand, touching hand, reaching out, touching me, touching you.
Stepping in now for Science Hill, the left fielder, number 14, Lucas Dye.
Welcome back to Bobby Hopkins Park. Mikey Teasley started this game. He is still in the game as we go to the bottom of the 5th. First pitch swung on. It's an infield fly. It's going to be caught by Carson Fagan at third.
Carson Fagan.
How many pitches for Mikey Teasley, John Ulrich, as we're 1 pitch into the bottom of the 5th inning?
After that first pitch out, Mikey's at 61 pitches.
Wow. He's easily a guy who can go over 100. We'll see what his limit is today. Teasley still with good stuff, but that one got a little bit away from him. A little bit high and inside. Batter kind of jerks his head back to avoid getting hit. 1 ball, 1 strike as that one comes right back into the zone. Teasley kind of smirked, something between he and Parker Free. He stepped off the mound for a moment, but here he comes again. The delivery in there for strike 2. Clouds totally eclipsing the sun right now, and they're not just clouds, they're rather dark. So hopefully we can get through this game, and that's one way to do it. Get batters out quickly. Mikey Teasley, 65 pitches into this ball game, has retired another batter.
Number 16, Nate Stutes.
Nate Stutes, the number 3 hole hitter, is the first baseman, and he's up to bat second here in the bottom of the 5th. He's going to swing one in and put a lot of contact. Deep right center. It's going to land and bop up against the fence. Warren East corrals it. He's going to send it in, but not before Stutes walks into second base, and that's a nice piece of hitting. That's the guy who Mark Hayes alluded to earlier when he said this guy looks like the type of guy that could hit a home run, and He wasn't far. If that wind had picked up like it did earlier, that one might have been a little scary, but it's deep ballpark was going to hold, really it's going to hold a lot of major leaguers in. This is a huge ballpark for high school baseball, especially when you're hitting to right center. Teasley, first pitch of this next at bat, a little bit low and outside. That's ball one. Fouled is the second pitch, and that's quickly a 1-2 count. John Ulrich. Tri Sharp is warming up in the bullpen down the left field line for Oak Ridge. He came in last night. We failed to mention in the post game, but he did set a personal record. Can you mention what that was?
I apologize for not asking about it during my interview with him yesterday, but Trice hit 76 miles an hour, which as a submarine pitcher, that is really nasty stuff. 76 mile an hour fastball that's just dropping about 8 or 9 inches, which can be really hard for hitters to pick up and to hit.
Teasley throws a low pitch. It's going to be grounded back to him. Teasley tosses to Cheeto for out number 3. Through 5 innings, as we head to the top of the 6th, the Wildcats have held Science Hill scoreless. It's 8-0 as the Wildcats are 6 outs away from a trip to Murfreesboro. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, as Frank Sinatra plays for Coach Joe Gaddis, a huge Yankees fan, we'll be back for the top of the 6th.
Welcome back to Bobby Hopkins Park in the top of the 6th inning. Richie Ferreira, Noah Wood, and I believe Cy Stevens will be due up here for the Wildcats. Richie Ferreira has hit a leadoff triple and a single and an RBI so far in this game. He's 2 for 3. Royston's first pitch is fouled off. Good cut by Richie. Ferreira steps back in the box. Royston set. Richie drives that one to left center field. Should stay in play for the center fielder, and he makes the catch for out number 1 here in the 6th inning.
Catch made by Sam.
Thank you, John Ulrich. It's 1 up, 1 down so far.
Now for Oak Ridge, the shortstop.
We talked about it. New pitcher in. It was the guy who's warming up. It's Sam Royston. He gets the first out here in the top of the 6th. Noah Wood has had a really nice game, nice series so far. And he's going to take a first pitch swing. Nice hit to the second baseman, who's going to make the throw, and it gets past the first baseman. He couldn't quite scoop it. Noah Wood's going to be forced to stay at first, but he's safe at first with one out. And Andy Hudson will come in for his first bat of the series.
Yeah, the second baseman Hayden Smelzer's having a little bit of a rough day today with his third error of the day.
He has, and he's a good player, but this is not going to be probably his favorite memory. Andy Hudson now in for the DH. You've seen him run. Here he is at bat. Sees his first pitch strike. Shakes his head in agreement. Gets ready for the second pitch. Pitcher throws to first.
Nope.
To no avail. Count is 0-1 with one out. Runner at first is Noah Wood. There's the pitch, low for ball one. Third pitch, breaking ball, gets Hudson to swing at that one. That was a pretty pitch. Probably the best looking pitch we've seen from this guy. It's another breaking ball. Andy's a little bit closer to that one. He's battling nicely there as he fouls that one off. Count remains at 1-2 with one out here. Oak Ridge leading 8-0. In the top of the sixth inning. Again, they're playing at home, but they're the road team in this second game. Wildcats won last night, hoping for a victory here that would send them to Murfreesboro. Another fouled pitch by Andy Hudson, and he's shown what he can do on the base pass, but now he's showing what he can do fighting as a batter. In the on-deck circle is Titus Fetters, a member of our prep radio crew, does a ton for us in football season and basketball season as well. Breaking ball again, and Hudson once again, the third pitch in a row, he's fouled off. He's having a really nice at-bat here, isn't he, John?
Yeah, he's fouling off some tough pitches just to hang in this at-bat here.
1 ball, 2 strikes, the count remains with 1 out. And Noah Wood, the lone man on the base pass, he's over at first base. Seen him be aggressive, but I think he's just going to wait to see here as they are going to try to pick him off. It's not successful. I think he's going to, at this point with this lead, kind of hang back and just try to let Andy Hudson push him over. 1-2 pitch is low and outside for ball 2, and it evens the count up. That pitch catches the outside corner, and that will sit down at Andy Hudson. So Titus Fetters steps in, another right-handed hitter for the Wildcats. This is a talented kid, just a junior. This is a pretty big kid too, tall kid, about 6'1". Just one of the nicest kids you'd meet. And he helps us a lot during football season, helping with camera. If you watch on prep radio, he's a lot of times the one that's doing the top camera. So appreciate what he does, and nice to see him get an opportunity here in a big moment. Tried to check his swing, but it went. I think the ball fell in the strike zone anyway. So regardless, it's 0-1 the count here. 2 outs with a runner on first for Fetters. Here's a second pitch. It gets past the catcher, and Wood will scamper over to second base with ease. So Titus Fetters now with the runner in scoring position and 2 outs. Faces a 1-1 count. Guys like this who maybe they're not in the everyday rotation, but they work just as hard as anybody at practice. How big are these moments, and how much are those guys that do play every day, how much are those guys rooting for these guys to get a big hit right here?
You know, even though they may not play every day, they're still a really important and integral part of this team. Everybody's like family to everybody, as we've interviewed many of the players through these past few weeks. And everybody in the dugout is really rooting for these guys that maybe don't get to play every day. Everybody's rooting for them to get a hit.
And
so
when you've got a talented roster like Oak Ridge does, a lot of these guys that don't play every day could be starters in most years of this program, and just the way it falls.
That ends the top of the 6th inning.
Fetters strikes out, and he'll walk back to the dugout. That ends the top of the 6th. Oak Ridge just 6 outs away from a state championship berth. When we come back, we'll have the bottom of the 6th and a new pitcher for Oak Ridge. Welcome back to Bobby Hopkins Park here in Oak Ridge. Trice Sharp is on the mound in relief of Mikey Teasley, who will now slide to third in place of Carson Fagan. While we had a moment, we want to thank Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics for sponsoring our stream today. It's not cheap. It's certainly not free, but we appreciate them doing that. Appreciate Mark Case for helping to get the scoreboard so you can keep up with balls and strikes, and you can mute me, which is probably the favorite part of most viewers. John Ulrich providing the knowledge today on color commentary and doing camera work and keeping our stats as well. We appreciate him. We appreciate David Clary, who's our executive producer, and we appreciate you, the listener, for sharing this, for tuning in, for supporting these Wildcats, and we hope that you continue to do so for the rest of this season. Hopefully the Wildcats looking to extend their season tonight by winning this game, winning their first 2. They have not lost this postseason. They're hoping to keep that streak alive here as we head to the bottom of the 6th, just 6 outs away from a trip to the state tournament for the 2nd year in a row. Here's the first pitch, swung on and missed from the Submarine pitcher, who set his personal record at 76 last night. We're talking to the someone with Science Hill between innings. John and I were doing a little bit of investigating, and the thought is, not official comment, but the thought is that Science Hill did not stay the night last night and did go back to Johnson City. We don't have 100% confirmation, but the person would have a pretty good idea and said he did not think they stayed. And you wonder, John, especially as late as they would have gotten home, waking up and immediately coming back down here today as Teasley fields this one. Long throw to first. Does he get it? Great throw. Great catch by Cheeto at first. Had to stretch out for that one for out number 1. But, John, as a player, could that come into effect when you're having to do that mentally, physically? What would be the hardest part about making that trip 2 days in a row, especially after you lose that first game?
Well, night in and night out. We had to go up to Sevier County last year. It was about an hour and 15-minute drive for us. And it was rough going but there before the game and then coming back after the game. It's not easy. We were able to battle through it and get to the state tournament. But it's really difficult for these Hilltoppers to take that hour-and-a-half drive back up to Johnson City and then come back down the next day. And it's 3 total hours of driving on game day. So
and 2 days in a row doing that, and that's as tough as it was on you were talking about, that's basically doubling the drive going to Johnson City. Teasley did a really cool thing at third base. He was kind of back near the outfield before that last hitter, and as soon as Sharp got ready to throw it, he charged up to third, planted his feet almost like a jump stop in basketball. It was swung on, hit a one-hopper directly to him. It was like he knew where that ball was going, and he tossed it to first to record the second out. His second recorded in a row. Sharp thought he ended the inning, was walking towards the dugout. Gets a couple of laughs from the Wildcat fans as they thought they liked the confidence of the Oak Ridge pitcher. Sharp, 2-2 pitch. Hit, it's going to stay fair. Parker Free tosses it over the head of the batter as he's running to first, and Free knocks him out. Gets him out as Cheeto records the out at first. So, Wildcats will come up to bat here at the top of the 7th, but Science Hill, as they take the field, there is a look and feel of deflation, because they trail 8-0 and are down to their final 3 outs. But they've got to get Oak Ridge out first, and that has not been easily done here. 8-0 the score as we head to the top of the 7th. Wildcats 3 outs away from a trip to the state tournament. First pitch swung on and hit high and shallow center field. The center field charges up and makes the catch to record the first out here in the top of the 7th. For Oak Ridge, that was a new batter, was it not?
It was Cam Britton that flew out to center for number 4, Warren East.
Cam Britton put a nice swing on it, just got a little bit under it. And Science Hill takes care of Oak Ridge's first batter here. He took the place of Warren East. Coach Free getting some other guys some opportunities here. Nice move from him. Parker Free still in the ball game here. Sees pitch 1. Thought it was a little high. Gets in there for a strike, though. Pitch 2, right down Main Street. That's a strike 2, and Parker Free quickly 0-2 in the count. That one, comes around on that a little bit early, and Free fouls that one right back over to Cheeto, who's in the hole over there. Mikey Teasley would be up next. Well, will be up next. There's only 1 out. Free swings and misses, strike 3. So 2 outs. First 2 outs have been recorded for Science Hill.
The third baseman,
As Mikey Teasley comes up to bat. This could be the last at bat for the Wildcats here at Bobby Hopkins Park this season. Swings hard at the first pitch, but misses, and he's down 0-1. Here's the second pitch. Breaking ball in there, catches the bottom of the strike zone for strike 2. 0-2 for Teasley here. 2 outs, no runners on. And the top of the 7th inning. Swing and a miss, strike 3. The tag will be placed after the catcher bobbled it. That ends the top of the 7th inning. So Science Hill, as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning, is down to their last 3 outs to try to keep their season alive. Oak Ridge leads it 8-0 here from Bobby Hopkins Park. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Bobby Hopkins Park, where Oak Ridge has a few changes in the lineup. John Ulrich, you have those.
You have Cam Britton staying in the game for the center fielder, number 4, Warren East. But Cam Britton will move to left field, and left fielder Andy Hudson will move to center field.
Thank you, John. I want to say thank you to you for all the work you've done over the past 7-8 days or so, as this will be our 4th or 5th ball game. 4th ball game we've called together. And I just really appreciate all your work, because without the sponsors, we don't get on the air, but without someone willing to do the camera and to help set things up and to keep the stats and to do all the behind-the-scenes things that most people don't see, it doesn't happen either. So I want to also say thank you to Aaron Wells and Sexton Automotive. I'm going to redo that. I've messed that up so many times. I'm going to say it right one time, dang it. Thanks to Aaron Wells and Sexton Automotive for paying for the first 30 students tonight. Their tickets allowing student body to get in without charge. We appreciate those folks doing that. Big supporters of Oak Ridge Athletics. I know Sexton Automotive has been a proud supporter of Prep Radio for many years. We appreciate them. We appreciate Jeff Huckabee and Versalytics for paying for our stream. Without them, we would not have been able to broadcast this game live. Right now, over 125 people watching, awaiting, in hopes for Oak Ridge to clinch their berth to Murfreesboro. Peyton Witter in now to close this game, as he has done so many times before.
This is Anderson Kraft into the ball game now. Pinch hitting for the shortstop, Matt Gavin.
Breaking ball hit back to the second baseman, who was charging, but Ritter could not, or excuse me, Reniger could not quite get underneath that one. It took a funny hop. It was sounded like it was hit pretty hard, but it got caught on the turf in the infield, and it slowed down, and I think just kind of took an odd hop there before it got to Reniger's glove. So one runner out with one runner on, excuse me, with no outs here at the bottom of the lineup as Darren Hill comes to bat, third baseman for Science Hill. Ball one. Thank you. Thank you. Excuse me. Allergies not quite out of the air yet. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. I've got as many sneezes as we do pitches in this at bat so far. As this one's going to be popped up, foul territory. It's in the infield still, though. Cheeto's underneath it. Cheeto catches it.
Welch takes the pop-up.
Cam Welch from first base comes about halfway down that line and catches it just into foul territory, and that's 1 out.
Stepping in now for Science Hill, the left fielder, number 14, Lucas.
So I look to my right, I see Science Hill fans, many of which have made this long trip. And unfortunately for them, it appears that they're going to be going back soon. As I look to my left, first pitch in the dirt, I see Oak Ridge fans who are minutes away from their own homes and moments away from a huge, huge celebration here that has been building for 7 innings. Delivery up and in. On Lucas Dye, the leadoff hitter. Likely his last at bat of the season. Let's see what he does with it. He's going to drive it straight up into the air. It's going to be very shallow center field. Richie comes over from right field to make a great play. Great athlete, great hustle, and he records the 2nd out of the inning. We are 1 out away from a state championship berth for the 2nd year in a row.
State tournament, Alex.
Hayden Smelzer.
State championship game still
I mean
3 more
tournament.
wins away.
I keep saying that, and I apologize. I'm well aware it's a tournament, but sometimes I'm not aware of what comes out of my mouth, so that's probably not a good thing. But 2 outs, man on first, Witter delivers the 1-0 pitch, or first pitch, and it's 0-1. Fouled off left. Coach McKeithen's going to hustle down near the bullpen to grab that one. Oh, 0-1 to Smelzer, and now it's 0-2. You can hear the Wildcat fans beginning to roar down the third base line in the stands. Ritter, the 0-2 pitch. Just low. Ritter smiles as he gets the ball back from Parker Free.
That one just missed low there, Alex. That was really close to the end of the Hilltopper season.
1-2. The pitch. It's going to be line to deep center. Warren East catches it, and that's your ball game. The Wildcats of Oak Ridge go back to the state tournament for the 2nd year in a row. It's an 8-0 victory from the boys in Cardinal and Gray as they pile on each other in the infield in jubilation. Pandemonium at Bobby Hopkins Park as the Wildcats are going to Murfreesboro once again.
Great pitching performance here from the Wildcats as they shut out the Science Hill Hilltoppers, although it looks like someone's down on the field or in the middle of the infield.
Congratulations to Science Hill on an amazing season. Heading back to the state tournament for the 2nd year.
What a moment for the Wildcats, and you can hear the fans.
Wildcats.
Cool display here as some football staff members. Aaron Green going out to congratulate Travis Free. Joe Gaddis going out to congratulate Coach Free. A beautiful moment. And why not, John Ulrich? Go celebrate with your teammates. He was a member of this state tournament team just a year ago, and now he's going to go back out and have a moment with his teammates. A great effort from Science Hill, who only has 2 seniors. The problem, they ran into a freight train in Oak Ridge who had just 3 seniors. 2 talented teams, incredible seasons. One had to end, one remains, and those Wildcats keep clawing their way closer to their ultimate goal. Mark Case, You watched the game against Maryville last week. You watched tonight's game. We talk a lot of football. We haven't talked much baseball together, but just your observations on what you saw here in the sectional or sub-state.
I think it's just a really impressive team that Oak Ridge has. You know, I can't say, you know, anything but good things about Coach Free. I mean, what a job he has done since he's been in Oak Ridge, and just gets the best out of his players. And, you know, just they play hard, they have fun. What more could you ask for? And second straight year going to the state tournament. I was talking to somebody a couple weeks ago about, you know, Oak Ridge athletics. I mean, football team makes it to the playoffs. Basketball teams make it to the state tournament. Baseball team now making it to the state tournament. I tell you what, that's an incredible athletic department that we have, and just athletic teams that we have here at Oak Ridge. Just so, you know, I kind of I equal it to kind of what Tennessee's been doing, you know, in football, basketball, and baseball. I apologize, I'm not that familiar with the other Oak Ridge sports. I don't know how softball's doing. I know at UT softball's doing well, but just really, really neat as we see Coach Free dive into the players over there in the outfield. Just great to see him to be able to celebrate with his players as they are in short left field. But, you know, just watching, just back to Oak Ridge, I mean, just real impressive what Oak Ridge baseball has been doing last couple of years specifically. A lot of talent, a lot of young talent. So, you know, we're going to have some of these players for quite a while. So, you know, just really happy for the baseball team and the athletic program as a whole.
Thank you very much, Mark. We're going to take a quick break. We'll leave the mics unmuted, but when we come back, we'll have interviews and we'll continue to celebrate this moment here live from Bobby Hopkins Park, where the Wildcats take an 8-0 win to clinch a state tournament berth.
See you. Take care.
I think we can ask for you.
That makes sense. It's not like they wait 2 weeks.
Roll, Wildcats roll. And roll they are right now as the celebration continues. We'll try to move the camera over there, and I'll be quiet for a little bit, but we'll just let you guys try to observe the moment that we're seeing here from Bobby Hopkins Park.
People are home, we're getting busy.
Hey, how's it going?
I didn't get a shout out.
I can do it. Or maybe had to work. They wouldn't have any way to see this game. So we appreciate him. Appreciate you hanging with us. I know it's not great radio, but we're just kind of trying to watch as Coach Free's wife now out there to take some pictures. Just a special moment. You know, Mark, I know you're trying to leave, but I want to make one comment. Is you see these guys on game days, but you don't see. I want to make one comment. Is you see these guys on game days, but you don't see in September and October and in November when you're just feeling like over there in front of the dugout when everybody was taking pictures.
At least before everybody else came out on the field, out in the huddle, Coach Free said, "We're not going to the state tournament for a participation trophy. These boys are going to win it, and they are going to give it every ounce of effort that they have." But then after we broke the huddle and after all the families came out on the field, these boys are just super excited. And like you see Cy running over here, everybody's super excited. Everybody's got smiles on their face. It's a great time to be an Oak Ridge Wildcat with this now back-to-back years that we've gone to the state tournament. And with me now is Oak Ridge senior Cy Stevens. Let's see what you did today.
Nothing. But we won.
You got hit by a pitch.
Yeah.
You did good.
Yeah.
And then Andy scored,
Yeah.
I believe. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm glad to be back at the state again. It's a great experience. Hopefully we go back and win it all. That's all I got to say.
And on your team, they have your back no matter what happens?
Oh, 100%. Even proved today. I went 0 for 2. I felt good at the plate, like approach-wise, but I didn't get the results I wanted. But scoreboard shows different-wise. I mean, team's got my back and came out with the win.
Thank you very much, Cy Stevens. We'll let you get back to your family and friends taking pictures. Really been trying to build for a while. And I guess one of the traditions or so I apologize.
8-0 win to the house. We'll see you in Murphy. 8-0 win to the house. We'll see you in Murfreesboro. It's Wildcats 8. Science Hillsboro. It's Wildcats 8. Science Hill nothing, and the Wildcats go back to the state tournament.